Now, for a patient or someone out there listening and has maybe some, tooth issue and they can't get to you, let's say,
Yeah.
what questions should they be asking their dentist when they go in to kind of differentiate? Because I get this a lot too. Hey, I don't see any biological dentists in my area, and I got to kind of decipher which one is best. How do they start?
That's a tough call because, but I'll tell you a good way that they can do that.
Yeah.
If they can download this website, it's just called freeholisticdentalcourse.com. I don't know if you can put it up later or something like that for them.
Yeah, we'll do it.
So it's a free video series I made for people all over the country, all over the world. And I did it as a philanthropic humanitarian type thing, right? And I just got so many nice comments back. I thought, wow, it wasn't like $1 million production or anything like that, right? It was just me talking in my office, showing things like we're talking right now. They'll learn all the things about biomimetic and holistic dentistry, minimally invasive dentistry. It's all on that course, and it's free. And then they'll have the tools they need. They'll know what questions to ask. And then the dentist will be like, my gosh, you know more about this than I do. Or, they'll be like, they'll be impressed, let's say, right? So then you won't be walking in sort of the effect of the dentistry. You'll be a little bit more at cause to kind of go, hey, this is what I'm looking for. Can you do that? I mean, like even when it comes to veneers, right? Some people go, I just want 20 veneers. I want beautiful teeth. Okay, so how do you want those preparations done? Do you care? And about maybe 80% don't really care. They're like, no, you're the guy. Let's just do it, right?
Yep.
But 20%, and it's going to grow more, they want minimally invasive. They don't want all their enamel stripped away. They don't want their tooth ruined to get a cosmetic result. They're now starting to think a little bit with longevity in mind. So freeholisticdentalcourse.com will save the day, I think.
Hopefully so. No, I think it's incredibly empowering when you have the awareness of what to ask and you have a knowledge base going in, because otherwise you're at the whim of whoever you go to, and that's kind of a leap of faith and trust in something you don't know too much about.
Right. That's right. I mean, I'm the vice president of the Academy of Biomimetic Dentistry, and we did a whole protocol there. I wrote up and worked with some of my colleagues. So we put a whole testing protocol together, and they have to sign a pledge that, at each step, they're going to do the best of their ability, biomimetic dentistry, on the patients they see. So they're making a pledge. It's a public pledge. It's on their platform. And then because in previous sites, you get a person that says, oh, I'm a member of this group or a member of this group. Well, it doesn't say much. It doesn't protect the patients out there. So we wanted to challenge the doctors to move up in their education to get a fellowship, and also challenge the patients to look to see what are their credentials. And then you have to see what's their practice like. Are they in a super busy practice? Because if they are, that means they don't have time to do biomimetic dentistry. In my practice, I basically have to see one patient at a time.
Mm-hmm.
And it costs a lot more. But the real question is that a patient would want to ask out there, not how much a procedure is costing, but how much will it cost them if they don't do it right the first time? Mm. So if I catch someone with a cavity and it's fairly deep, and I can do it with a layered biomimetic filling, layer by layer, and it takes me an hour and a half, and all of a sudden it's like a $1,800 procedure. Someone could say that doesn't know, they would go, wow, that's a lot of money for a filling.
Right.
It's like, no, it's not a filling. This is a total sculpted, reconstructed thing. There's a good chance, I can't say this for sure, but there's a good chance it may last them the rest of their life. Versus the traditional fillings, their insurance pays to replace them every 3 to 4 years. Yeah. And they get bigger, they leak, they get bigger, then the person needs a root canal, then they need a crown, then the tooth gets weak and breaks, then they need a dental implant. So if you can stop it, instead of them spending less up front with something that's going to fail and cause them that whole downward spiral, they pay a little bit more up front with a lot of time, care, and skill, and then they don't end up with $8,000 spent over a 20-year period losing a tooth.
Absolutely.
And the health issues that might be come about from it,
Well, that's the thing. You got to take the kind of, non-numeric value of things in a sense and look at that as well. Right. Your happiness, your health, your longevity, and also look at not the upfront cost, but how much of a value that is to have that peace of mind that you may not have to go back and keep doing those fillings and deal with issues for the long term. So it's tough for people to see that because everyone's living in a very, 5-second world where we only look 5 seconds ahead.
It's true. It's sort of like, working. You're just trying to raise a person's awareness to the point where they know what are the real important questions to ask. And that's a real important one. If I do it the right way, I know it'll cost more. But if I do it this way, what's the risk?
Yeah.
And so they have to decide for themselves. And the problem with traditional dentistry is, and not all of them do this, but many do, they put a base, they have a big cavity, they put a little base down there, and then they glob in this thing, carve it up, put the blue light on it. Well, that blue light's going to make everything shrink, and it'll pull towards the light. So it might pull off one of the walls of the teeth, but it looks bonded, it looks beautiful, but it's just not really supporting the tooth the way it should. Versus if you do little 1 millimeter increments, the science shows, and everything we do in biomimetic dentistry is backed by peer researched and reviewed and accredited research. So if we do it in 1 millimeter increments, nice and slow, with a certain gold standard of materials that mimics the flexation of the tooth, then you're trying to rebuild Mother Nature. It's not as good as it was, but as close as we can get it. And they can look beautiful, and they can also function beautifully.
Awesome.